In this episode, you could win a one-of-a-kind Painted Sarge from Reichbusters, painted by the legendary Seb Lavigne. Remember, all you have to do is comment on this episode, be a subscriber, click like, and remember to ding my dong. Hey, you're still with us. Did you ding the dong? I hope you did. Right. I am Warren from OnTableTop, and this is The Weekender, your weekly guide to all in wargaming. And this week it'll be professional because we have Ben back in a cave. Welcome back, Ben.
Yeah, I'm down in a basement somewhere at the moment.
I don't know where you are, Ben, but this is where I want you to be forever.
He's in Joseph Fritzl's basement.
Oh. Well, you know,
as you can see, we have spared no expense on the new set for Ben.
Okay. Look, the industry's going through hard times. We've had our own budget cuts, so we've sent Ben to a but that's okay. It doesn't impact on his ability to give you his best. And Ben, you're going to give it to them this week, aren't you, man?
Oh yes. Fully.
Yes. Right. Well, there you go. And I'm also joined today by the dulcet Jerry.
Hello.
Justin, my best friend from another mother. I know, Justin. I know. And Brother Lloyd.
Hello.
Okay. Right. Some announcements to make. Okay. First up, it's February.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
And February is International Recruit a Gamer Month. Okay?
Wait, you mean I have to go out and talk to a non-gamer about becoming a gamer?
We all do, right? This is a challenge for everybody within the Beasts of War community, okay? We want, during February, to have one crack at introducing somebody who hasn't been into gaming, introducing them to gaming.
Do like a pyramid scheme. You get 2 people, and then they each get 2 people. It's like 10 people right there.
That's exactly what we should do. It's not one person, it's 2 people, and then you get them to recruit 2 people. No, it's simple. You just have to get one person who's maybe never tried gaming, somebody you know, and you think to yourself, do you know what? We've never even talked about gaming. I'll bring a small game or something to work with me, and I'll say, hey, do you fancy having a go at this? So recruit a gamer month, and we would love to hear your stories at Beasts of War, so we can talk about them on the Weekender. So if you had to recruit somebody to gaming, Justin, and you weren't allowed to use chains and whips and stuff like that there, okay? It was just in a nice, friendly way. How would you do it? What game would you take?
Okay, if I was going to do it with, say, my family, I would grab one of the small games that we have in the office. Probably something like Joking Hazard. Rule system's very light.
Yep.
Everybody gets to laugh and have fun, and you get to be a little bit dirty. So that suits my family.
Okay, right. Well, moving swiftly on from incestuousness.
No.
That's what everybody was thinking.
Hold up. Have you seen my family? They are goddamn ugly.
Okay, we will let the viewers be the judge of that one.
I ain't even commenting.
Jerry, if you can you think of a non-gamer in your life that you might be able to recruit, and how you might do it?
That's a puzzling one, because most of the people I keep around me are gamers, because non-gamers, they're just the worst. I almost had a delivery driver earlier, but he escaped. It's terrible.
He did. It was class.
It was great.
He just came in to deliver something. And Jerry's all like, oh, thank you very much. Have you seen our store? Have you seen through? It was about a 5-minute tour of the gaming centre and everything.
He was loving it.
He
was loving it.
Followed by slagging his town off as he left.
It's from Armagh, to be fair. In my defence, Armagh's terrible.
But you didn't see the best bit. The best bit is our millennials were all sitting in the other room going, did he just slag someone off for where they live? And I turned around and went, hi, when you slag someone correctly, it can really endear them to you.
It's a pattern.
Everybody's got to love the our millennials. I'm like, oh,
I would technically count as a millennial here.
No, you're not bright enough, man. Don't you worry. You're one of us.
Honorary Generation X, thanks.
I'm a keylatch.
You look, man. You're okay. You only missed it by a few dozen IQ points. It's okay. You're one of us, Justin. One of us. One of us. What about you, Lloydie? What would you do? Any games in mind?
Well, I did try the missus once, I introduced her to a few games, and then she started beating me, so I stopped playing with her.
Right.
So I'll probably not
Do not take
that
the stick
again.
away.
Were there fuzzy handcuffs involved? Were there fuzzy handcuffs involved if she was beating you?
No, that's a different type of game. No, that one worked out quite well. I don't know, because like Jerry says, everyone I'm hanging around with these days is a gamer.
Yeah.
So it gets difficult when you evolve in the circle of gamers. What I would try to do is recruit a gamer to play another game that I play.
Yeah.
Can I do that? Can I recruit, like, pick up a second game? You know you want to?
Well, I have
A sideways move in the industry.
Yeah, sideways move.
I have 3 epic challenges for you then, right?
Uh-oh.
So 3 people that potentially we could try to recruit as a gamer.
Yeah.
And you're going to hate this, man. Okay. First one, our mother.
Nah, not doing it.
What game could we possibly use for Sylvia? But bearing in mind she has the attention span of a gnat.
What's the one with the little stick men slagging each other off?
Joking Hazard.
Yeah.
No, the one before that, the even dirtier one.
Oh, Cards Against Humanity.
She'd probably play that, you know.
I actually
That would
find
be like unleashing our mother. That would be like oh.
that's
I
the best
know.
way to play, though, because
Yeah.
the best way to play Cards Against Humanity is to get someone who's innocent.
Yeah.
Totally innocent, the nicest person you've ever met, and get them to play that game, because they will sit there with the cards going, Can I play this?
Because you know when your mum says, go and watch Bad Santa 2, she'll like that card.
Right. Next challenge then.
Yeah.
Our brother-in-law.
What, Tuesday?
Have we got any football games? Sabudio?
Would Sabudio count?
Nah.
Sabudio's a tabletop game.
It is.
It is.
It's
flicking.
what do you call that?
It's a
What is it
throw
when you
your
call it
finger
when you're
next.
flicking
It's
it?
a dex
Ben.
game.
Dexterity. Yes, well done.
Dexterity game.
Yeah, so we could flick it with him, and get the flicky game going. Sabudio's actually really cool. I think it's a really, really cool game. And there's terrain making and stuff involved in it as well.
Except you'd have people turning up in football jerseys and rioting in the game suite.
Nice.
I think he might like. I think he might quite like Ticket to Ride.
Aye.
That's a nice light one.
I'm thinking Ticket to Ride would be a potential good one because it's you can get your head around it fairly quickly, and it's it's not mad craziness,
Surely there's a card game out there like Magic, but for football players.
Yeah, it's called Top Trumps.
A bit more advanced than Top Trumps.
a bit more advanced than Top Trumps. So
It's something I actually haven't seen. Is someone?
Is there any interesting kind of soccer-based board?
Yeah.
Formula D.
Oh, Formula D, yes.
He
that's
would
a good
enjoy
one.
Formula
I can go
D.
one better. Chances are he's already a role player because an awful lot of football fans out there, both, proper football fans and the American football fans, already do role play week by week with their fantasy football leagues
That's
where
true.
they get their little stat team in and they go, oh, I'm going to buy him. And they go, oh, I need a better defender. I'm going to sell this piece of crap and get that. And every week they're getting their stats out and all the rest. And yet, if you go play some D&D, they go, no, nerds with your tables and your goblins. And you're going, what have you just spent a week doing? And then you've paid somebody
There is
to
a
put
bit-
your football team in their league.
There is a bit of a mental divide there, though,
Yeah.
because when
Yeah.
you said it, it never even occurred to me think, fantasy football
Fantasy
league.
football
Of
league.
course. They even had TV shows, for goodness sakes.
I know there is a company out there doing American football Blood Bowl style. But they've just taken the fantasy off it, so it is just American football
and
players.
tabletop.
Yeah. And then I have the ultimate challenge for you, the hardest one of all, our stepfather-in-law. Or stepfather-ish in-law thing, dude.
You mean our
Just
mother's boyfriend?
stepfather.
Our mother's partner.
No,
Yes.
boyfriend. I like to say boyfriend.
Well,
Me ma's boyfriend.
No, it creeps me out, man. It still creeps me out. I can't say it, man. But right, so he's the grumpiest man in the world. Okay, what possible game could we get him into? It would have to be something where he
Tales from Equestria.
shanks people.
I have just the one for you.
What is it?
Nyctophobia.
Nyctophobia.
Yeah.
Right.
The whole concept is you have max players is 5, right?
Yeah.
So you have 4 people playing teenagers and 1 playing a serial killer. The 4 people playing the teenagers are blindfolded, and the only way to actually find your way around the board is by touch. So you could
I
have
think
him
we'll leave
pla-
that to you and your family.
You could have him playing as the serial killer.
You
Yeah.
want our mum's boyfriend running around touching teenagers? No! That's what you've just described.
No, that's what the bloody game is. It's a rendition of the classic teen horror movie.
Yeah, I'm thinking Citadel's Lloyd. He can be the bishop. Ben, If you right now, Ben, in your time, you look like a seasoned recruiter to me. Okay,
Yes, come to my basement.
cult level status, man. Cult level status. Okay, how would you go about recruiting a non-gamer in a way that we can broadcast?
Okay, so if it was like tabletop sort of board game, card game based, I'd say the Ticket to Ride, great entry level game. Seven Wonders is also really good. Teaches a lot of basic sort of card game mechanics, including drafting. Carcassonne, so it's a really good entry level thing for tile based games and stuff like that. If I was going to go for something cooperative, something like Forbidden Desert or Forbidden Skies, maybe even Pandemic. There's also card game wise, there's Keyforge, which is absolutely amazing, really good for new people. Seeing loads of people turning up to tournaments and playing that for the first time, and the first time they've played any card game ever.
Wow.
If it was for miniatures games, then I'd probably say sticking with something Games Workshop wise, so maybe doing something like Kill Team. So it's really easy to pick up. You can get those, already built kill teams. So go and get those ones. Get those to the tabletop. Requires very little terrain. It's everything you're going to be painting is in that box. So it's a good first step for people. And obviously it leads into some of the other big games that Games Workshop do as well. So that's what I'd suggest if I was going to put forward any ideas, I think. So.
Well, guys, like I said, February is International Recruit a New Gamer Month, okay? And here's a little surprise, right? If your comment below is talking about that topic in particular, I'm going to send you an extra prize on top of the Reichbusters one, a nice surprise. Okay, one other update. Our team at SITREP, that's SITREP, that's Gianna, Dawn, and Jim, have put out episode 1 of Ops Center. I've had a chance to watch a bit of this. It is very, very well done. It's very well put together, and it's a modern wargaming thing looking at the Sinai War of 1956. Load of great information in there, and it is well worth a watch. So definitely check that out. Okay, Ben, man, it's a relief to have you back. What is going on in the news?
So the first bit of news is for anyone this weekend looking to get into 40k and they want to try out a different faction. There's the Genestealer Cult out for pre-order. So there's been a whole bunch of new models released for that, including a whole bunch of vehicles and characters and all sorts of things as well. So you've got the likes of the Jackal and the Jackal Alpha. So you want to get you some vehicles down to the tabletop. They're a little bit different for your Genestealer Cult. You've got those coming your way. A lot of people already talking about how they're going to sort of introduce these into their Imperial Guard armies, using them for Necromunda and all kind of things like that. Very, very cool set. There's also, in terms of the troop side of things, there's the Brood Brothers upgrades for the Imperial Guard. So this has already existed before in some other format. I can't exactly remember what it was, but this is now available as an additional upgrade sprue and sort of kit that you can get together. So if you want to include some Imperial Guardsmen in your force that have been turned, that's an awesome new option as well. And then, of course, you've got some of the new characters that have also been revealed. So you've got the likes of the Magus, who's going to be leading the way, new female character for the Genestealer Cult. And then you've also got things like the Sanctus, which is their sort of like assassin-style character, the Locus, the Nexus, and the Clamavus as well. So there's a whole bunch of really cool ones there. I believe the Nexus model, the guy standing around the really cool sort of radar screen, hollow screen, is that actual screen there is actually Warhammer World, which is
yes,
very cool.
It is.
So I thought that was very neat.
I can tell from here. Yeah.
So anyone who wants to get stuck into that, the new Codex is going to be out, up for pre-order this weekend and then released the following week. And of course, there's all the other things that they include with that, including lots of limited edition stuff as well. And an additional sort of thing that came out as well during the blogs over on the Warhammer Community website is also one of the new vehicles called the Achilles Ridger, or just the Ridger, I think it's called, which people have liked as well. So there should be a link down to that in the show notes as well. So that's a new vehicle that's coming out. So if you don't want to...
Well, it's been a while since we've had a pause.
Sort of quicker moving vehicles there.
It's a quick and moving vehicle. Yes. Oh, yes, Ben, you are still here, man. We are listening.
Okay.
I like this a lot better than the Tyrox.
Yeah?
It looks a little bit more speedy.
I have a question. Go to the very first images, right, of Genestealer cultists on motorbikes.
Yeah.
Surely they should be riding around on termagants.
No.
Is that not part of how they got into that mess in the first place?
No, you see, this is them taking like mining equipment and stuff and redesigning it or reusing it for their own purposes.
Ah, right.
Why would they be riding around on termagants, Warren? Why? Why?
I just thought that was part of the whole conversion process. You know,
No.
It was like no.
No.
Oh, okay.
They don't try to like sneak in and slip in anywhere undetected. These Genestealers.
Cults.
cults,
apparently not.
cultists. So they're full out there. We're just a cult. Genestealer wise, they're not trying to pretend to be humans anymore.
No, they do. They do.
Yeah.
Genestealers will infect a planet, and over generations, slowly the population mutates into Genestealer cultists.
So they'd stick out like a sore thumb if you were a human riding around what people perceive to be a human riding around on a Termagant. Wouldn't you?
I like the way Lloyd thinks.
Probably hasn't.
You look
stopped
at
a few
them and
of
go,
though.
"There's
Probably hasn't
something wrong
stopped
with
a few
that
of them.
person."
Yeah, women, like one or two of them might have an extra limb or something, but they'll just wear a this shirt and just.
How can you be sure that's a limb? Like,
I've read the backstory.
It's in the backstory.
It's in the backstory, yes.
Right, okay. And what does it look like?
Like
an
baby's
extra
arms
arm.
holding an apple.
Holding, yeah.
Or like the guy from Total Recall who goes like this.
Yeah, let's say that.
Maybe.
So, what would you do
Uh-huh.
if you were becoming a Genestealer cultist?
Well, you're halfway there. You've got the looks.
You've got the looks, man. You do have the looks. So,
Well, honestly, the way that you're actually brought into the cult is that you're infected by a Genestealer by it putting its own organic matter inside you, so you're taking over, so you don't care.
now I understand. I got it wrong. So it's not cultists riding Termagants. It's the other way round then.
Well, Genestealers putting biological matter into someone, yes.
Nice.
Yes, but not in the way you're thinking.
Not in the way I'm thinking.
No,
How do
no.
they do it then?
They should be called gene inserters then, rather than stealers.
It's all with the tongue.
Yes. Is it? Is it?
They actually cut you open along the ribs.
Show me.
No,
Just
they
reenact it there,
Well,
Justin.
have they
You get
changed
cut
this?
Yeah, well, from the last thing I read,
GW
you get cut open
retconning.
along
Please,
there,
please stop retconning
and then I believe
GW.
it's the tongue goes in and drops off
The tongue drops off.
the Genestealer. No!
Okay. That's cool. That's cool. A bit of tongue action there. So Ben, I've been really looking forward to this next story, man. This one is just magnificent. Everybody's been waiting for this.
Oh, have we ever?
It is the return. It is the model. It's Sanguinius.
So yeah, this is the new addition to the Horus Heresy character series, which will be available very, very soon, I believe. And this is effectively become Marmite in miniature form. People either love it or they hate it. I'm personally somewhere in the middle. I think it's okay. I've never liked really any of the Horus Heresy character series. I think they're a bit too crazy and expensive and all that kind of thing. But as I say, a lot of people are really liking it, and then there's a lot of people that think he looks like a real idiot. So it's up to you what you think.
Yeah, well, do you know what? I think now is a good time for us to analyse it.
Let's break it down for a second here.
Right. There we go. Okay, we're getting ready.
So
Now,
first up,
yes.
no foot on rock.
No, that's
it's
because he's
not.
sliding down a banister of rock instead on
Ass
his
rock.
backside.
Yeah. It's
It's like a dog in the back garden.
Can I first say something very positive about it?
Oh, feel free.
It's well painted for
It
a
is.
Forge World model, isn't it?
Somebody
Somebody
done
obviously
that.
likes the non-metallic metal.
Forge World models normally look like they're dipped, really, but this has come out really well. I don't know. It's Sanguinius has never been a particular favourite of mine anyway. Because he was always the weakest of the Primarchs. Yeah, he was always a wee bit wimpy.
It was terrible.
It was
I was
like-
hoping when they said they were going to release a model of him, it would just be him dead at
Dead.
the bottom of the stairs.
Yes.
And just two of Horus's two legs, just up to the knees.
Yes.
As if you were just seeing just the bottom after
with a
it'd been
foot
broken.
on his neck.
Oh, that type of thing, yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, but you
That
don't even
wouldn't
need
be
the
a good
rest of
model.
Horus, you just need the two legs.
Or even
Yeah.
just a foot.
Just a foot.
Just a foot on the neck would have been ample for me.
I don't know what was going on with the posing. The head looks like it's on fire. Help, my head's on
The
fire.
hair is a bit strange, Justin. What do you
I'll
think?
give you that. I will give you that. It does look a little
And that
strange.
sword, is he dropping that?
Is he
Because
holding it?
he's not
Actually,
holding it.
I'll tell you
And
the
I'll go
exact
one step
pose.
further. If anybody wants to go and get a brush, that a big broomstick that they've got lying about, and attempt to hold it in that fashion, and see how long you can do it before your arm cramps.
Where is Ben? Where can you work out how he's holding that sword? It's very difficult to. Oh,
He's holding it. He's
it's
holding it
like
up
that.
as if he's driving it down into
Yeah,
something.
yeah.
As far as I can
Except
tell,
he
so-
can't.
So it's
There-
like that kind of.
Yeah, except he's only
I
got.
can't show you on the camera.
He's only got a couple of his fingers on the very end, just almost at the pommel, so it's not even wrapped all the way around, and it just looks like he's gonna.
You do realise it's
you know,
an echo
It's
of
a
the.
very strange.
It's an echo.
I
of the
can
war.
tell you exactly where it came from.
Right.
Awesome.
There's a piece of artwork of the Archangel Michael in the exact pose that they've done this.
Oh,
Google
that's no.
You sure?
Yeah, Google it
All
and
right.
find it out.
Yeah.
Yeah, Google it.
Let's see if a
does
Renaissance
look
artist.
inspired by that.
Yeah,
My
let's see if a
problem with-
Renaissance artist could actually do posing better than that sculptor.
My problem with some of the Games Workshop models is they throw so much detail and so much little gribbly bits onto it that it becomes almost tiresome to look at them
Yeah.
for any length of time.
The thing is, there's a Angelic Light Space Knight from, I think, Skibor,
Yeah.
which came out last year or the year before. It looks stunning. So it's essentially their version of Sanguinius, long time before GW did Sanguinius, and it's much more restrained and looks much better for
There you
it.
go.
Yeah.
but-
Let's see. Ah.
Right, but that's
He has
See what
foot
they've
on
got.
head.
yeah, that would have been better if that was Horus doing that to Sanguinius. That would have been great. But he's not sliding down a
That's-
balcony of rock
It's
on his
what
backside.
what they're going for.
Is it? Well, they failed in that respect then.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's the specific one where it's the sword being thrust down in.
Yeah. He
It's-
did it.
Do you know what?
Did it badly.
Right, go back to the mini. Go back to the mini. Do we see? There's something odd about the way the legs. It's just strangely posed. It is strangely posed. But do you know what? It could be one of those ones that it's the angle of the photograph.
Could be. Don't think it is.
Does he have
but
his,
could be.
It could be.
Ben, does he have his page up on Forge World yet where you can buy him?
Nope.
No, he doesn't.
Yeah.
Because I went looking.
Right, because whenever that comes up, they generally do the 360, so we'll see better then.
Well, that photograph doesn't do it a lot of justice.
Yeah.
We'll find out whether it in the flesh
Aye.
it looks any different.
Well, in the resin.
In the resin, yeah, in the resin flesh.
I still think he's going to look very strange.
You think so? The legs look very, very strange to me. There's something awkward about the pose in the legs.
It's because they wanted to make it look like he was flying, but didn't want to have it noticeably attached. Therefore, they've stuck that bit of rock right up his jacksie and had to move the legs akimbo to get it out of the way. That is the only reason that pose is like that. And you're going, it just looks terrible. I'd rather have had a flight stand than that unusual posing.
Really?
Yeah, because that just makes it. At least the legs could be put in a more realistic manner. That just.
But
looks
then he would
weird.
literally have a pole up his hole.
Oh, that's fine. Yeah. That's bad. Why bury the lead? I do like that.
But there were other opportunities for connection points there, right?
I'm sure there were.
Go back to the photograph,
Yeah, yeah.
okay? So there's a point where the foot is very, very close to the rock.
Yeah.
Says the
Now,
guy
if
who
they-
hates foot
no,
on
wait,
rock.
I was about to address that. If the foot had connected at that point, I might have had a little bit of a giggle about its ultimate foot on rock,
Yeah.
but I would have been very forgiving of it because it's not your typical foot on rock. Okay, so a connection point there. The other thing potentially could have done, and it may well look like this, is something similar to what they did with the Age of Sigmar minis. Do you know where they had all the flowing
Yes.
scrolls and flowing cape?
Yeah, we
and
see, I
that was
think-
what elevated them into
Yeah, I think
into
that
flight.
is where your connection point is here, because if you look, there's a bit of a cloak or a tabard coming out the back here, and that's actually your connection point to the rock. Mm-hmm. At least I think that's what it is.
That's just
Yeah,
the toilet
it's,
paper.
do you know what? For me, it's one I just have to see in the flesh to see. Next up, we have a bit of Frostgrave, a Gods of Fire expansion bin.
Yeah, sure. So the guys at North Star have put together a new pre-order system for their Gods of Fire expansion for Frostgrave Ghost Archipelago. You can get a hold of the new book, which includes a whole bunch of new scenarios as you send your crews out looking for the whereabouts of the Crystal Pool through a series of new scenarios and stuff. Including there as well will be rules for using both tribal warriors as both your enemies in the game and also as allies for your crews as well. And this comes alongside a new plastic kit and a whole bunch of additional metal figures as well that you can use for adding to this. I've talked about it before. Frostgrave's one of those games that just got away, which is unfortunate. But yeah, it looks absolutely fantastic. It's really nice to see them expanding on this and also stepping away from, obviously we've seen a lot of expansions for Frostgrave in the Frozen City, but it's also nice to see them expanding on the world and going off to these tropical islands as well and do something nice there. Because you get to play around with some really cool monsters and things like dinosaurs and all kinds of things like that too. So
Giant crabs.
Are these
giant crabs.
Are these
giant
like
enemy crabs.
Giant enemy crab.
Are these like an Aztec sort of inspired look to them then?
Sort of like Pacific Islander style
Yeah.
look to them. So.
Yeah. I love the look of the Cyclops on the front cover.
Yeah.
I think Cyclops. Is there a mini for that yet, or?
They're expanding through stuff on the pre-order page, so it might have been unlocked at this point. They call them a Nick started their pre-order thing. So.
Yeah, I haven't seen it yet. There's Triceratops, I think, was one of the most recent things they've unlocked. So you get a big 28mm Triceratops, because it's very Doug McClure, Land Before Time. In fact, this expansion is some sort of isle just off the coast that's cut off by unusual mists and fogs that people can't get near. And when you arrive, it's all Kalimar time, Kalimar. That's it.
Awesome.
Unlucky.
Awesome.
This is one of those games that kind of got away from us here in the studio. We started playing it at the club, but unfortunately we just didn't keep up with the campaign.
Well, that's Ghost Archipelago stuff isn't direct Frostgrave. So Frostgrave's all wizards.
Aye.
This is tropical region where instead of having wizards leading your warbands, you have people who have descended from people who had essentially drunk from the well of immortality.
Yeah, I believe they're called heritors.
That's the one. Yes, that's the word I was looking for. So instead of being actual wizards, they can use the power of their bloodline to do fantastic things and abilities and stuff. So it uses the same mechanics. So it's Frostgrave in that respect, but it takes a very different slant on. It's not just a wizard and his group of friends stealing stuff on an island. It's a heroic, semi-godlike, like demigods essentially, just running about doing it. So cool, good times.
Next up, we have Zealot Minotaurs. Let's check them out.
Yeah, so this is the pre-orders for the Zealot miniatures Minotaurs that were previously available on Kickstarter. You may have seen one of our community members, Laughing Boy, who did a project using one of these amazing-looking Minotaurs. But I picked out just a few of them from their amazing selection for you to use in your games. They're all going to be available in early February, so they should be around sort of like now or in the next couple of weeks, which is very cool. Absolutely stunning sculpts. Love the muscle definition to them, the armor, the poses, everything about them is just epic. And considering what we got from Games Workshop in terms of Minotaurs still, with their muscles on top of muscles, these would be awesome in Age of Sigmar to see going against like Stormcast Eternals, something like that. So yeah, very cool.
These are without doubt not only the finest Minotaurs I have seen in sculpt, but some of the finest miniatures I have ever seen in sculpt. The definition of that model, that is incredible as a female model. I just love the tone, the definition, the power, the rage. It is absolutely fantastic. Go to the next one.
These are definitely the mini tours you're looking for.
Oh yeah.
Oh yes. Just look at that. Look at the real sense of I don't know,
rage.
And it's intimidation. It's just the power of that model is incredible.
One of the things I talked about, especially with that second picture of that Berserk Minotaur, is just you can get a sense of like its hot breath like breathing on you, and that sort of like rage building up through it, and the fact that it's like this coiled spring ready to attack you. And I think that's really good for monstrous miniatures because you want to be afraid of them, and I think that's really cool. So.
How they got that? There's a tightness to that model. You can feel the strength. That coiled spring is a perfect description of it, Ben. And how they've done that is incredible. Now this one,
look, 2 feet on rocks.
That beast, is flipping amazing.
So that's a monster riding a monster, which I thought was really cool. So.
But look at
like monsters.
But look at the face on the Minotaur itself. It's almost like it's mooing at the moon. But you can, it's just that sense of there's an arrogant, I don't know, like I'm just going to kick ass.
There's one thing the sculptor does here that I've very rarely seen sculptors be able to do before. Yeah. Is the sense of skin and flesh pressing against other materials whenever it's bouncing back out around. I think it's Bell illustrated actually in the first one. See down around this bit of padding around the leg. Yes. You can see the material. It is padded, but it's being pulled into a shape, and the rest is pushing up around it. Mm-hmm. That is an incredible skill to have for a sculptor.
They are beautiful. I mean, it's absolutely beautiful. I can't wait. So these are now coming out for pre-order now, Ben.
Well, they've been available for pre-order over the last couple of weeks. And they're all going to be available in the early part of February. So watch out for these if you missed out on the Kickstarter. So.
I can't wait to see what these guys come up with next on a Kickstarter. So if we've keep an eye out for these ones, Ben. If these guys make any announcements, we want to know.
These are the guys that went to Kickstarter towards the end of last year. Did Lichmere Dungeon, which was one of the Kickstarters we looked at.
Yeah,
which was all about
Boris's...
them redoing Hero Quest. And
Yeah.
stuff like that. So yeah,
Awesome.
Boris
Very
did
cool
the sculpts on those, and they were stunning.
they were amazing.
Yeah.
Okay, last we have some more stuff from Stoessi's Heroes.
Yeah, I love talking about the guys at Stoessi's Heroes because they do some fantastic miniatures for you to use in your World War II games, and I love hearing about all the stories as well. So the first one of these is U.S. Airborne Lieutenant Colonel Benjamin Vandervoot, because I think that's an awesome way to say someone's name.
That is, but you should have done that in a completely different accent, Ben. Because you know who played him in The Longest Day.
Yeah, this was the guy that was played by John Wayne in The Longest Day, as Jerry was saying there. And this was the guy who broke his ankle during the landings in Normandy. I think it was when he was dropping in with the Airborne. And then he still led the defense of Saint-Mère-Église and stuff like that from the back of his little cart, as you can see.
Oh, wow.
And once you go and click through and follow it through to their website, if you want to follow and learn a little bit more about it, you'll see some of the pictures they've used as referencing and everything. And it's really cool to see it actually based on the historical person rather than just the John Wayne character that we saw in the movies, obviously.
Yeah. And then we've also got Otto Skorzeny.
Yeah, so
Skorzeny.
Yeah. So this guy was Hitler's go-to man when it came to special operations, apparently. He was a little bit of a diva, according to some people in the comments as well, which I thought was quite interesting. But he was the man who went and rescued the deposed dictator Benito Mussolini from his castle, where he was being held on top of a mountain. He came in via glider and managed to subdue all the guards and escape with Mussolini. And then he rose to fame because he was paraded through the streets alongside Mussolini by the Germans, just to sort of like boost his character and his ego as well. He's as I say, some people in the comments said that he was a little bit sort of over the top potentially, and in some ways his actual rescue attempt of Mussolini could actually have gone badly because of his decisions. Like he was very much like, let's just get in and do it, I'm going to be amazing and do all my cool stuff and be like a hero.
Smoke me a kipper. So all we have to do is just drive up, open the gates, take him out, and away we go.
Warren, if I ever get
No. We need gliders.
See, what happened there was Hitler actually, whenever Mussolini was deposed by the King of Italy and they decided they needed rescued, Hitler did his usual, which was go, I need you to go and find out where Mussolini is, to Otto. And then he went to somebody else and went, I need you to go and find out where Otto is. Because he was always pitching the various branches of the military under him against each other.
Right.
So Otto arrived to discover that somebody else was also on the case. And was like, no, I need to do it now. But then when they rescued him, and they were leaving, they took like a light plane, like a Fletcher Storch or something like that, out of there. And so it can only have a limited capacity. And Otto went, I'm coming anyway. And he was a big guy. He was 6'5" and built like a brick. So it was like, if we all go back, the plane might not take off. And Otto's like, I really want to be there for the victory parade. I'm coming. So he went west, and then after a very dangerous, bumpy takeoff, they got into the air. So, but yeah, he did. He was responsible for things like the Battle of the Bulge. So a lot of Germans dressed up as Americans. You know that?
Yep.
Yeah.
Right.
He led those. He was, he got all over the place, and then he ended up in Ireland after the war.
Yeah.
Years later, he settled in County Kildare.
is he still there?
No, in 1971 he sold the place. He died of cancer. But
yeah, because he went to Egypt and he served as like a bodyguard, and he was helping Mossad.
He was helping Mossad.
Yeah,
he started like one of the first private defense companies. Like he went, you know what you need? You all need special forces, but sometimes you don't have special forces because you're a little tiny country, or maybe you're just like a big corporation and you can't really have a private army. We'll do that. And it was like, it's called something like the Paladin Guard. It's worth looking up. So yeah, Otto was mental, and then Vandervoot, or whatever is that, Saint-Mère-Église. He ended up in Ireland as well, but only briefly, because he was, apart from D-Day landing, he was also at Market Garden and Sicily. When they were getting geared up for D-Day, they brought him back, and the 82nd was actually sent to Northern Ireland for the first part of the D-Day plan. So the pair of them were in Ireland at some point. So you should all buy them.
There you go.
I was going to say the cool thing about the Otto miniature as well and him in real life is he had a very impressive scar on the side of his face that I'm sure won him many drinks and women in bars and stuff. And so that's obviously represented on the model as well. So he's very much that quintessential sort of German villain hero character.
Dueling
scar.
scar.
Introduce it into your armies. So yeah.
From his days at school. When they were fighting, proper, University of Heidelberg type of, German dueling scar. He fought many.
Cool.
Well, that's where he got it. Yeah,
Get
well,
out
not
of
there.
here.
But
He had that before he went into the war.
He had it before he went into the war when they were still doing things like, officers' duel. He fought like a dozen duels when he was at school, and one of them left him with the massive
I
scar.
have to wonder if when he went into the military, the higher ups looked at him and went, "Well, you've got a big scar on your face. You must be good. We're putting you special forces,
Yeah,
sir."
you'll do. You'll do. Right. Which leads us very nicely, because a character like that, as pulp as he is,
As larger than life.
could always find a place in the game that we're about to talk about next, which is, of course, Reichbusters.
Yes.
Which has just went live in its pledge manager. We've had a Let's Play out this week. If you haven't seen it, it's amazing. I'm in it.
I try to stop him using grenades.
I had a lot of fun with it, and I'm sitting on an explosive barrel, and when I'm not ready to blow it, I'm just going to drink it. Anyway, check it out. But in the meantime, Justin got a chance to sit down with Leo and Az to have a chat about what is in the Pledge Manager.
Hi everybody, I'm joined by Az and Leo from Mythic Games, and we're of course here to talk about Reichbusters.
Yes.
Time for a bit of an update?
Oh, a big update, man. It's Pledge Manager time, late pledge time. We've got a bunch of stuff to add, so we had to come visit you and actually have some fun, didn't we?
Yeah, of course. And we believe after, sort of kind of maybe, we should have a game sitting out there.
Yes, we'll have a full brand
Look
new
forward
Let's
to
Play.
that.
It's on the Beast of War channel already at this stage, so if you haven't seen the Let's Play where we take on this big boy, who we'll get to a bit later.
Yeah.
You take on this big boy, Project X. We have a full Let's Play where we brought Warren back and gave him more explosives than last time, which was...
Yeah, I have to say, now, this is something I wonder. We saw him with explosives last time,
Yep.
and you gave him Botchka.
Yeah, we had to give him someone who we thought would really match his playstyle again. So we gave him a guy who literally carries an explosive barrel everywhere he goes and straps grenades to his limbs. And Botchka felt very Warren to us.
Yeah.
Two Russians in the team.
Yeah. So yeah, if you haven't seen that Let's Play, like
Lots of
definitely
vodka.
go
Lots
and
of
check it
vodka.
out. It was immense fun. Hard.
We've never done that type of Let's Play yet. Get a kill, take a shot.
But yeah, essentially, so for us, this is kind of like almost like a second campaign. So like it's the 30th of January, the Pledge Manager is officially open.
Yeah.
So now you can go on and kind of get all your Pledge Manager stuff if you backed, and if you haven't backed, you can come and late pledge. And whether you backed or not, there's a bunch of new stuff on there as well. So we wanted to come and chat to you about what's happened with the game since we were last here, all the changes, all the feedback.
Yeah, they've been quite a lot of changes.
There have been.
Because people are playtesting this game every day. We have game developers playing Reichbusters over and over again, and so the game has really improved a lot since we brought it to Kickstarter.
Yeah. One thing I noticed that the guys from Mythic and the Mythic team always do, you actually come out with games with gorgeous artwork, a world that you can just dive straight into, and the game system, even though it needed fine-tuning, you still had the core of it, that kernel that makes a great game.
Yeah.
And I think whenever you actually take and show it to your community and then start grinding off those rough edges, seeing where they want things tightened up, that's where you're going to get games that people are going to play for years.
Yeah, that's absolutely the hope.
That's the goal, really. We want the people to play our games. We don't want just them to have the excitement of having them, discovering them, playing one game and then thinking of the other ones. We want them to play them for years. That's exactly it.
Yeah, but I mean, like the way you've created it, you've got the complete game system in one shot without the Kickstarter win.
Yeah.
Because I mean, like, how many characters did you guys unlock?
17 different heroes. First of all, we got 2. We have, not including Project X himself, we have 6 different Vril Meisters too. A huge number of maps, objectives, and factions for our raid mode. So essentially, whenever you're playing the campaign, you can follow along with the story. Whenever you're playing the raid mode, you can combine these different maps, different objectives, and different factions in any way you want, or randomize it in any way you want to give yourself a unique experience every single time you play.
Can you imagine the number of combinations as a starting team you can have with 17? I know I don't do the math, but I know that's That's a lot.
Yeah. Well, I
So
mean, like,
that means every time you want to replay something, you will have a very different feeling depending on the heroes you start with.
Yeah.
well, I mean, like that's the great thing of it is that replayability. I mean, like if you change a Vril Meister, you've got a completely different game. If you start tweaking and changing who's in your team, you're going to have a very different play experience. So there are zero limitations to how many different ways you can play this.
It's great fun. Yeah.
I am curious to see what people come up with as their dream team to take on like Project X.
It's funny, you have this weird conversations when we play test in the UK office. I particularly love Team Falcon, Team Kestrel, these more stealthy, sneaky, the ones who want to get in but then will struggle against the heavy armoured guys, the Sturm Soldats, the Vril Panzers, these big tough targets. But I like spending more time investigating, picking up items and working your way through dealing with what you can find and relying on your skill. Whereas other guys in the office far prefer the likes of Team Harrier, who we played with in the Project X Let's Play, who are literally on their quote, it says, these are the guys who care not about stealth. They're the guys when the brown gooey stuff hits the spinny blade in the ceiling, they're the guys you want, and they burst the door in and they go hard from the get-go.
I like a team, a Harrier team with Brick, Hans, Boschka, and who could be very loud too.
This is the thing.
Maybe Bjorn.
Yeah, that's it. Some of the Bjorn it's funny because the narrative of the game as we explored all the heroes and have developed them is really cool because Bjorn is naturally very loud because he's a screaming Viking, whereas but he can be quiet if you want to play him that way. And whereas other guys like Hans, who walks in with the Panzerschreck, once he fires that, he doesn't really have a choice.
It's something that's very interesting. I mean, like sometimes you're going to want this game just to play out like a John Woo movie.
Yep. All action all the time.
Just diving for cover, shooting stuff. Oh crap! Like 5 Nazis just ran through the door, kill them quick before they actually take away turns from us.
And that's it. Is do we have to deal them quietly or loud? And you have that discussion.
But even when you do so, you still have to think and to make the right choices and the right combinations with the cards you have available and with what your partners can do. So that's always challenging.
Shall we have a little look at some of the heroes we got to? I mean,
Pledge Manager, obviously, this is coming.
Yeah. So launched on January 30th. So you can go there right now, whether you backed it initially or whether you want to pick it up as a late pledge. You can go. Everything is still available that was there in the Kickstarter, plus a lot of new things that we'll kind of talk about a bit later and say that the new additional. Some of it's nice kind of aesthetic stuff, and some of it's really tasty and meaty. So this is where we started way back when we interviewed with you guys months ago. We had the core heroes under attack by the core units of the Vril Meisters. We had 5 heroes to begin with: Brick, Sarge, Quentin, Claudine, and Red Hawk, and now this is a roster of heroes. And this is the thing, right?
Can you name them all?
I actually knew he was going to do this, and I tried to mentally prepare it. Right, top left to right. Okay, so we got the American Sarge, we got the Brit with the bow Quentin, we got the Russian sniper Red Hawk, we got the Brit. Sorry guys, we got Claudine, so that's our core heroes we started with. Then middle left, we got Bochka, the Russian engineer. We got Tane, the Maori warrior. We've got Bjorn, our Norwegian berserker. We've then got Fleeman Joe, our pyro. We've got Irina, the Polish dual pistol, silence pistol wielding assassin. We have Cool Beer, our Gurkha. He was a fantastic entry. The community loved him. Bottom left then we have Remy. He's our Dutch spy, espionage turncoat. He's dressed in the actual enemy's uniform. We then have O'Reilly, the captured Irish hero, who's infused with Vril right in because he's been experimented on and broken out from his own campaign mission. We then have Prof, our scientist. She's all about gas grenades. We'll talk about her later, actually. We've got Brad, our GI, Doc, our French, what's the term I'm looking for? He's a legionnaire. There we go. And then finally Hans, another one of our turncoats. He's our German tank hunter who's joined the Reichbusters to fight against the Vril Meisters.
There's nothing subtle about rocking into one of these missions carrying a Panzerfaust.
Not even remotely. The cool thing about this is that whenever you start the mission, you could not be more different from the player sitting next to you because your hero deck is chalk and cheese. Everyone has their own playstyle, their own little puns and quirks and their own little abilities. It's not like saying you're a ranger, I'm a warrior, we both got the same stats and it's just a shield or a bow that gives me an extra dice. That's not what it is. We've got Tane, the Maori warrior. He's all about doing the haka, being loud, distracting, taunting, pulling threats towards him. And then Irina, who's super stealthy. She loves picking off multiple enemies like John Wick style, taking out a couple of guys with their pistols. Silence. They're very, very different, and that makes the gameplay so much fun.
You could have a full female hero team.
Yes, absolutely.
The one I'm dying to play though is O'Reilly.
Really? Yeah. Irish guy.
It's not even that he's Irish. It's just look at the rage and the insanity in that face.
If you had been captured and experimented on by the Vril Meisters, I'm pretty sure you would not be best pleased.
You finish shaving that guy's head, I'd give him a goatee.
So here, if you have a look, this is a quick snapshot of all the renders of the guys. We're going to show a bunch of these off, obviously, but we wanted to really have a diverse cast. We wanted to represent a lot of the allied nations, so you do have, France, America, Canada, you've got the Gurkhas, you've got Irish, you've got Norwegian. We're going to obviously hope to do many more in the future.
We have reworked some of them. You see, for instance, Brick, we have changed a little bit of his proportion. All of the minis will have textured bases and unique textured bases. We've also rescaled them, so they are now really 32 millimeter. So it's and we keep on reworking them for the plastic version. So we want the plastic minis to be just perfect, which means sometimes the weapons have to be enlarged, sometimes small details are changed, but in the end, what you see is what you get.
Yeah, I have to say, for each of the characters, you've really captured just the spirit of the character. So I mean, like I'm looking at the Maori warrior just running the thumb across.
Yeah, that's
the
it, isn't
neck.
it?
You've got Brick just standing there being a badass with the ever important grenade.
Yeah.
You've got O'Reilly, and he does look like he's just going off on one,
He's
ready
just
to tear through stuff.
He's just grabbed whatever he could to try and break out. Like he's not equipped with the latest allies. He's just grabbed himself a couple of hammers and he's battering his way out that facility.
And I love how nonchalant Botchka looks. 'Cause he's just sitting on the barrel going, I get paid for this in vodka.
Botchka is what I think he was a real divisive sculpt with our community. Some loved him, some were like, why is he not action? When you see his cards and you see him in action,
favorite one.
yeah,
So
absolutely.
it depends.
When
but
you
it's
actually
true.
play with him in the game,
Oh, yeah.
his character and how he is there really comes through. Because some of his cards, he's being quite lazy, he's drawing stuff, and other times he's chucking his barrel, running away, and detonating it. Or he's sitting on his barrel, and he's right, comrades, let's go, and he just tells everybody to run forward as he's sitting back. He's really flavorful.
The one thing I really enjoyed with what the game developers did is that they took the image and it inspired them some of the special powers that they gave them. Like, for instance, the Maori doing his haka. Well, this is some part of what he can do in the game. The barrel for Boschka. This is in his powers, Everything was really interpreted by the developers and is in the game.
And the puns.
And the puns,
All
yes.
the puns.
We do love Lenin a hand and Stalin for time with Botchka and Hans. Well, actually, do you know what? I think we've got Hans. We can have a wee chat about him.
Yeah.
Because last time we were here, we talked about the core heroes and some of the stretch goals, but we didn't show everything. So we have a beautiful Hans painted by the one and only Seb Lavigne.
Yeah.
Here you go.
Now,
Seb.
I'm going to say this in the most gentle, positive, supportive way possible. Seb, if you're watching this, buddy, I hate you. From the very core of my soul, I hate you because your talent is just insane. I mean, like, the sculpt that has been done on this is gorgeous, and then Seb has just came along and just
Look at
went,
the face.
It's the
I am
5
going
o'clock
to-
shadow. It's the tones of the face and the structure of the cheekbones. He's captured that kind of grizzled, determined, steely kind of look right from the art that we had Catalan Lartiste produce. He's captured it
He's
wonderfully.
always working with the art next to him when he paints.
So Hans, as you can see, he's kind of an all or nothing guy. He does have his Panzerfaust, and he also has his Luger. So you're kind of dealing. He can go fist to fist. He can go unarmed in battle, but really he's kind of trying to work his way through, trying to be guided by the other players to ensure that when he loses that, he's going to take down targets. He's a single target killer.
He's a German who didn't
like what the Vril Meisters were doing, essentially. He went against the experimentations, and he decided that he actually needed to support the Reichbusters and bringing them down. So he kind of knew a little bit more than the Reichbusters at the start. He knew the likes of the Vril Panzer, Project X, so he had no problem going in and saying...
I'm guessing this is why he grabbed the Panzerfaust, because he knew he'd have to deal with them. He's just like, yeah, that's fine, Sarge. You take your Thompson submachine gun. I'm going to have one of these.
Yeah, I know, because we did decide that we would give him a Thompson, because of course he's going to be joining the Allies and needs some weapons from him. So on the scope, we said, no, he needs some representation of the fact that he's come to the Reichbusters, but he's holding true to the weapons he's familiar with when it comes to the game.
Yeah, well, I mean, like, if things go sideways... he could always grab a Thompson at some point.
Absolutely.
Because the way you actually have the characters laid out, you could trade the weapons out if you want to.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I mean,
it's a very interesting thing to do with some of the different abilities with different weapons.
Yeah, and again, that's where the campaign really comes alive, because whenever you're going through the story, you're going to be getting new abilities and new skills. Your characters will be changing and evolving. If you play the raid mode, if you're not doing the campaign, if it's just a single setup, your team card will define what's available to you. So if you're going Team Falcon, they'll be more stealthy focused. If you're going Team Harrier, it'll be things like grenades, and it'll be things like extra ammo and armor piercing effects, because they go hard.
Yeah, but even as a house rule, I mean, like, if a team's coming together and I'm looking at, say, Hans and Sarge are together, give Sarge the Panzerfaust, give Hans the Thompson, and see how it would play.
That would be epic fun. And the cool thing is, the cards and that effect would change it a lot, because all the decks are unique for each hero.
Exactly.
So you'd have a very different feeling to the playstyle if you start house ruling that kind of stuff.
Well, it's just something that instantly jumped out at me, because it's done individually and you're building it onto those dashboards that you guys are doing. You could do it so easily, and it could make for some very interesting, like, homebrew games.
Yeah. Oh, and do you know what? There's a lot of potential for that kind of homebrew stuff. Even outside of the raids and campaigns, if you start making up your own teams, it's going to be super fun. Our own factions to rub against.
And I'm sure some people will come up with playing the enemies, even though it's not something we wanted to do, because we clearly wanted to represent them as the bad guys. We know some fans will do that.
For me, I love the way you've engineered the game, though, that it is the game versus you, and the game doesn't take it easy on you.
No, it's hard.
It's something you find whenever you've got a well-programmed AI built into a board game. It can sometimes be more vicious than any player you have ever played against.
The best thing I love about the AI in Reichbusters is that essentially, if something goes wrong, it is your fault. It wasn't because the game randomly drew something terrible, like out of a deck, that just kind of ruined your mission. It's because you made some noise, or you burst into a room, or you let Hans open a door.
Or you picked up an item that was, in amongst a ton of alarm clocks.
You always have to make a decision. Is it worth the risk?
That's it.
Yeah.
To do this noise, is it worth the risk?
We have a couple more heroes I wanted to mention briefly that we hadn't really talked about before. So this is Coolbeer.
I'm curious about him.
Yeah, this is our Gurkha. This is our guerrilla fighter. He's really a get in, get out. Obviously, he's got quite diverse weaponry with his kukri. He can really get in and do some vicious damage. He's got a great advantage to his playstyle that other characters don't benefit with, which is kind of moving in and out of enemy territory. Usually when you move into a Nazi area, you have to stop. You can't keep moving through. His guerrilla fighting allows him to be far more fluid, and his positioning allows him to support guys in the game. This is actually a great point to talk about one of the new rules that we put in, actually.
Yeah, sure.
So we found when playing that the players were talking a lot about different things they could do, but we wanted to give them another way to interact and support each other. So what you can now do is, if you're in the same area as one of your allies, you can support them in attacks they're making, basically giving them extra boost to the damage, extra rerolls, extra special symbols, so that when it comes to that critical point, or whenever you have someone who's actually going to say, I'm going to tactically maneuver to your space, you can now share and make that attack when you want it really powerful. And then you combine that with the likes of the team abilities. Team Harrier, as an example, says whenever you make a ranged attack, if I'm in your area, I could join along and make a ranged attack with you, and we can synchronize our fire. And that's comes the strategy with guys like Coolbeer then become much more flavorful, much more fun.
I'm loving the design that you've done for him, because you've got the traditional Gurkha knife with him. You've got now his firearm is a little odd to me. It looks like a blend between a Sten gun and a Thompson.
Yeah, I mean it's like a stem, but you're just got the sideways loading thing. I must admit I can't remember the exact model of this. Jack would probably slam me. Jack would know exactly what model it is.
We can ask John later.
John will always keep us right. It's always fantastic coming to John.
He gives us feedback and we take into consideration, and then we change.
If John signs off in a mini, I am super happy.
He will spot it immediately.
It's great. He's like, this canister, it should have a flat bottom, not rounded. And I'm like, I love you, John. I love you so much.
When he looked at I think there was an ammo crate, one of the characters was jumping off. He looked at the actual the
millimeter of the ammo, and John went, that should probably be a slightly different millimeter, because that wasn't invented until a few years later. And I was like, that's incredible knowledge, sir. And I was a bit annoyed because I didn't want to change it, because I wanted to leave the time traveling element as an open potential. But no, I was like, let's make it right. And the cool thing with Reichbusters is we want to keep it largely historically accurate.
It's very pulpy too, so
that's
you can have fun with it.
It's got to be, the core Reichbusters has got to be an adventure, a mission against all odds, and huge amounts of fun. One final hero on a chat about it, but this is Prof, man. And she was one
she's gorgeous.
we all in the office really loved, and I actually went on our Discord server and talked a lot with our community and teased little bits about her because we had a lot of requests for special effects. Now, people were looking at what kind of extra weapons could we add in, because we have flamers, we have big explosives, we even have the likes of mines that heroes can get now and leave behind, these booby trap type things that Warren was looking for are now in the game. But what Prof opened up for us was the use of grenades and gases and elemental effects, essentially. So she specializes in stunning, dazing, smoking, incinerate. She locks down rooms and areas, suppressing Nazis, holding them in place, allowing you to either get into a room undetected, maybe get out of a room to escape, or just take out large groups of people, or large groups of enemies whenever you have to. She's an incredibly diverse character, but very light on the standard firearms. So she has to, again, she's that
She's
kind of
the
character.
smartest in the group. Also,
She picks her moment. That is it. She's very intelligent, very much about leading and supporting the team until she can be like, right, I'll allow the infiltration or I'll allow the get out time.
Yeah. I mean, like, even just looking at the way she's been sculpted, I love this sort of more advanced-ish looking biochem suit that she's rocking about in. Like, she looks like she works for the CDC.
Well, yes, I mean, this is exactly what we were aiming for.
And, I mean, like, again, she just looks like... the character's face actually looks a little miffed. As if she's watching Sarge going, God damn it.
Yes, she's the kind of character that is orchestrating things.
Yeah.
You know, she's kind of seeing herself a little bit above the brick who's running in and just gunning stuff down.
Yeah.
She is definitely kind of surveying the battlefield a bit more kind of methodically.
I'm very curious to see how she plays in the final game.
Yeah, she is going to be epic fun. Epic fun.
Yeah, and whenever people are jumping in on the pledge manager, so what levels are they jumping in at? Is it the same as what they had option-wise on the Kickstarter? Or?
Yeah, essentially, so you'll be able to get the core box, as you could before, and all the expansions. So we have the Knot of the Earth expansion, we have the Doors expansion, and we also have Project X as well, who we'll chat a bit about shortly. And then we will also have an all-in bundle as well, so you can get everything as one big group. And then we have a huge amount of individual add-ons that we'll be adding into the pledge as well. So yes, everything that was available in the Kickstarter will also, again, be available there.
Good, because if I'm someone thinking of dropping into this game, I'm kind of wanting to drop in heavy and get the lot.
Absolutely.
So that I can experience everything, because that's what you guys do so well, is make complete gaming systems.
So I wanted to chat a little bit about the Vril Meisters. We've talked a lot about the heroes, but we did unlock and add in a bunch of new enemy factions to go up against. So this...
And when we unlocked one, it's just like when we unlocked a hero. It meant a lot of new gameplay.
That's it. Yes.
Because each new Vril Meister brings a new
flavor,
faction.
new faction card. Yeah, it exponentially increases the amount of different raid combinations you can have.
They each play very differently, and the experience you have when you have a different Vril Meister is real. You know, you will see different kind of units, different proportions of units also on the board. The AI will play differently.
I see. So, I mean, like, whenever you're talking about factions, there's a specific card, and does that have, like, the loadout of what forces they have access to, and does that change, you know, what the chances are of things coming out of the deck?
Let me skip forward a little bit, and actually I'll show you exactly what we're talking about here. So if I give you, here is General Wolf, and here is Zealot, and here is a zombie. So whenever you're setting up a raid, if you're not playing a campaign mission, so you're not playing one of our story and just missions, whenever you set up a raid, you do three things. First of all, you pick a Vril Meister to go up against, you pick a map from a range of maps that you want to play on, and then you pick an objective. The most important thing we'll talk about here is the faction cards that come with the Vril Meisters. The faction cards tell you, first of all, what units you'll be up against. So the likes of soldiers, the likes of automated, like the tracking bombers, the Sturm Soldats, the Sturm Gunners. The Vril Meister you play against will completely dictate what they have available in their faction. But it will also dictate how much they have. So for example, Gisela prefers to have mutations like the 601 and the 6XX, whereas General Wolf in his mechanized chair far prefers those guys you're showing off there, the Sturm Soldats with the hammers and the guns. These are the experiments that Gisela far prefers. These are experiments 601, soldiers mutated for close combat. What is most interesting about the faction cards though is not only does it dictate the type of units and the amount of them, but they'll also be tweaked slightly to suit the exact play style of each Vril Meister.
Okay.
So for example, If we look at General Wolf, who we were just showing off there, he is all about mechanized heavy armor. So he has the Sturmsoldaten, the heavy mechanized units, the tracking bombers. What he also does is tweaks the base core units like the zombies and makes them tougher, stronger, more armored, because he's been spending his time researching protection, defense, thicker armor, making his stuff endure. Gisela, on the other hand, far prefers mutation, biological. She's trying to make her zombies faster, to bite harder, to work better as a synergistic group. So not only when you sit down to play a raid are you choosing different Vril Meisters, different factions, you're also going to get a completely different flavour to the core units of the game. And we have dozens of different types of enemies, and if you play against General Wolf all the time, you're only going to be seeing a slither of what the entire potential Vrillmeister factions can give you.
Yeah, so this is why game nights, it's good to perhaps randomise which Vrillmeister you're going to go for.
Yes, and if you want to randomise it, you're going to have to be brave, because you'll choose that map, you'll choose that objective, and you'll choose that random faction.
This sounds fun.
You know what you've got.
And then you choose your hero.
Then you choose your heroes.
And your team.
So you then say, this is what we're up against. We know what we've got. What are the 4 heroes? Or you can obviously play with less if you wish. Your 2, 3, 4 heroes. And then what's the team? What's the thing that's going to synergize our heroes together? Because that gives you your
against
skills.
this particularly position that we have.
But again, if you really wanted, you could randomize it. You know, if you want to give yourself a real challenge. And there's so many combinations of ways you can combine the heroes and the teams together. So the depth of it. So when we go back a second, let me bring it back up here. This was General von Eichenberg. He's one of our new Vrillmeisters who's very much focused on mutations and being a back line. He does not fight up close himself. He's really about orchestrating and leading his units.
He's
and
the first one who got heavily mutated by Vril. You know, he discovered it at his depends. He was mutated. He was the first to be mutated, and so obviously his powers will be.
His wardrobe's full of left shoes. He doesn't wear shoes on his right foot anymore.
And I'm guessing he had to get his tailor just to redo some of his clothing.
Well, really, the tailors went to work on him, but they also had to do a lot of work on this guy. If you want to have a little look at him,
yes.
This is Hugo. This is Hugo Hander. We do love our puns in Reichbusters. He's one of our not of this earth expansion Vrillmeisters. He is very much getting behind he's self-mutated. He's kind of come after General Eichenberg when he's made the decision to become this brawling, throwing heroes, getting up close and dealing with them. And he has that beautiful kind of, we joke that it's kind of Hugo Boss, kind of four-arm sleeve jacket he's got on. He is a monster to deal with. Loves fighting at range, but
look,
compared to an officer.
To an officer.
Oh, yeah. I'll quickly see if I can get both of these in.
There we go.
So, yeah, there's Hugo and a teeny weeny little officer.
And then I'll give you, if you want to pop them down, I'll give you this guy over as well.
Okay.
So if you're into the more, this is where you can kind of make the options in the Pledge Manager. If you're into more of the sci-fi, the Not of This Earth expansion is one you should absolutely be looking at.
This is another Vrillmeister.
This is where we bring in the alien mutation, the telepathy, the extra battlefield control. The aliens here are trying to get in and become symbiotic with the Vrillmeisters, and it's where we take the battle off planet, off world.
Wow. It's weird because the cloaks and the clothing that he's wearing, it still just about feels German uniform, which is super creepy.
See, this faction has actually really embraced the aliens who naturally control Vril, and they've got acolytes who literally form almost a religious cult around Vril. And so we have the scientists and the mechanized aspect, the biological aspect, but then the cultist aspect. So if the core game will give you tons, but if you like going into more of the sci-fi aspect, you've got Not of This Earth as an option.
Very cool.
Another Vrillmeister we have is Heinrich Gruber. This is actually Gisela Gruber's brother, and we call him the Horde Meister.
Oh.
And the reason we call him the Horde Meister is he's got very traditional units.
Yep.
So soldiers, zombies, tracking bombers, these things that you expect to find in the kind of early campaign missions and the likes, but he has tons of them, and he is a Kickstarter exclusive. And the reason is he uses every mini essentially in the core box.
Oh.
So he's like 24 soldiers, he's like 24 zombies, he's
Right.
just like, so
All of the alt.
that's
yeah.
it. All the alternate sculpts that you have, he uses them all and throws them in waves at the heroes.
Okay, so I'm taking Flaming Joe, I'm taking Brick, I'm taking
Prof with her
Botchka,
grenades.
and Prof.
Botchka's a good shout, yeah.
Yeah, no, I'm thinking Brick, Flaming Joe, Botchka, and Prof.
That's that would be a Horde Meister battle. That would be
Yeah.
really good. And yeah, the thing is, depending on who you take, different troops will deal with hordes better than others. Hans with his kind of single target rocket launcher would not really be doing the job.
Yeah.
But this is where if you randomize it,
Yeah.
you're going to have
Yeah.
interesting missions to deal with.
Yeah, well, I mean, like, you could get Heinrich
Mm-hmm.
on a very tight, very dense map.
Yep. Or it would be extremely difficult, depending on the map you take and depending on the objective. For example, if you've just got to go in and plant some information and get out, maybe it's not too bad. But if you have to go and search for 3 different locations to try and find the dossier you're after, that could get really
Being
grim.
swarmed is usually how you lose.
Yeah.
So yeah,
This is why I'm trying to look at area control for my Reichbuster team against him.
Flaming Joe is good.
Flaming Joe would be fun in that mission. So I want to chat a little bit about. Oh, we've chatted about these guys. Let me skip through this chat.
Of course. So this is Projekt X.
This is him. He comes in his own expansion. The monstrosity. This is kind of like an experiment gone wrong, but it's also the thing that threatens the front lines the most. If Projekt X makes it to the war, the Allies are done. This thing could destroy anything the Allies could throw at it.
All right, now this is a habit you guys at Mythic have.
Yeah, we
You
need the big
always do
things.
at least one huge, ridiculous, insane miniature, and this is it. And okay, so you've got the artwork here,
Yeah.
and it looks badass as all hell.
Yep.
I've got the miniature here, fully painted again by Seb. You can see the German officer beside it. So this is a standard 32mm miniature. And look at it.
Yep.
The details are gorgeous. You've got the fully textured base. You've got all kinds of flesh and blood and stuff hanging out from around all the metal. You've got the Vril canisters. And I love the way that you've actually got the armor. It looks as if they've tried to make something very much a contained mutation.
Yeah, that's it.
And it's just not managed.
It's
to hold up.
erupted out of it. That's you're right there. This was a machine essentially that one soldier was not enough to be able to contain this. So they kept throwing more and more experimentations into it until finally something happened and all 4 bodies gelled together to form this massive, half biological, half mechanized monstrosity. This guy is like the Nemesis, he's like the big villain. He comes in his own expansion, so with his own campaign missions and his own set of raid missions as well.
Yeah.
He is, when you want a real difficult challenge, this is the thing we fought against in the Let's Play, and it is not
It is hard as
easy.
nails.
We decided to take a very specialist team. We went with a team that we thought would have a good chance against him, and we specifically went, these 4 heroes should be able to take Projekt X.
Yeah.
It was still tough. Still very, very tough. And I used to think the Vril Panzers were scary, and you get 2 of them in the core box.
Yeah, I mean, like, the Vril Panzer is a pretty big miniature.
Yeah, I mean, he's a Redemptor Dreadnought, Primaris
scale.
Redemptor Dreadnought scale himself. We will have a bunch of pictures as well on our Facebook page and on our Kickstarter where you can see this compared. To give the guys at home an idea of scale, Projekt X is basically the same size as the, oh goodness, what's the new 40k? Adeptus Titanicus.
So it would be roughly Warhound or Reaver?
Reaver, I believe. He's a little shorter. He's about 5-10 mil shorter, but bulkier by far.
Yeah.
We have some comparison photos up on our Facebook page.
I mean, like, I have to say, before I actually saw this guy, you brought in
The Shrieker as well.
the Panzer and, the Shrieker. And when I saw the Shrieker, it was just like, oh my god, that's a big beastie.
Yeah.
I then see Projekt X, and it's just like, oh, the Shrieker looks like his little brother.
Whenever we chat about the faction cards and what units are available, Projekt X's faction card includes a Vril Panzer, which means you can have a Vril Panzer and a Projekt X fighting you at the same time.
Well, I mean, like, we did a game off camera before we did our actual Let's Play, and we had a beautiful moment where we were stuck in the Barracks B room. If you haven't seen the Let's Play, go check it out. But from behind us, suddenly, all you hear is the doors clanking open, just boom, boom, boom. What's that? Oh, crap.
Yeah.
At which point, Botchka had to go back and go, no.
Yeah, we traditionally, because obviously anyone who doesn't know, I used to be here at Beast of War, of course, and traditionally we play a little game off camera to get used to it, and we thought we'll let you guys play it so you get familiar with all the new rules that were brought in. But we had to finish that game because it was too exciting. We wanted to see it through to the end. See Botchka running up and putting his mechanized fist through the Vril Panzer was just epic. But yes, you'll have to watch the Let's Play yourselves to see all the different things that happened.
Yeah. I mean, like, it's absolutely insane. Now, there's one thing about the design of this that I particularly like.
Yeah, we've got some more stuff to share. This is just a piece of art by Guillaume Pongelupi I wanted to really show off, because this unit, it has a lot of special rules, and one of those is that it doesn't care at all about the other Nazi units. It charges through them, moves them out of the way, and knocks them backwards. It displaces other Nazi units like they're nothing. It also smashes through walls. It'll change the map you're playing on as you're fighting against it, meaning you rubble through walls and open up these big areas where you have to get around behind it and try and use positioning. It completely gives you a different fighting experience to the normal Vril Meisters.
Yeah, well, I mean, like, one piece of the design that I love is, you see the weld lines that you guys have sculpted in here? It kind of reminds me on the old mouse hulls that were made at the end of World War II, to actually show that this was the biggest, the baddest thing they were trying to make, and they weren't exactly sure how to do it.
Yeah, they just had to lump it together and see if it held. So yeah, these are obviously some renders which, you know, just give you another way of seeing it without Seb's incredible paint job. There is another nice picture of it. But I think the thing that we had the most fun with, and from a design perspective, is this element. So this faction card for Project X is a lot of soldiers, a lot of scientists, a lot of things that are trying to push him to the front lines. Whenever the heroes come across him, it's like, we take him now or the war is going to turn. And this shows you that Project X actually comes in 5 parts. He comes with head, left and right arm and legs, and each one of those acts as its own individual enemy with its own individual attacks. So it's like almost fighting 8 Vril Meisters, or 4 times 2. Each part of him is doubly defended as well, so you have to attack the legs once to wound it, and again to actually try and take them out. Similar for the left arm, you have to wound it once and then take it out, and if you wound it, it's going to go berserk. It's going to start fighting harder, which means you have to plan as a team when you attack it.
Yeah, not just that, it's planning to support each other as a team as well, because look at the head. If you just go directly for it, that's a 40 you need to roll on all your dice.
Nigh impossible.
Nigh impossible, yeah. I mean, like, as you take out the arms, we actually saw that, you know, it starts to get a little weaker. Yeah. But even when he's at his weakest, that 25
it's still very
big
difficult
numbers.
Yeah, you really have to coordinate, and that's where that new rule about supporting each other with modifiers, re-rolls, attacks. You have to coordinate with this guy. Yeah. You could never do a single hero against Project X.
If you're lucky and got like stupid rolls, you could.
Yeah. That's the fun of exploding dice and rolling those specials and allocating them to skills, is that if you do defeat the odds and you really do plan it right, you could get lucky. You could. So yes,
you can't use your heroic bonuses against him.
Yeah, there's no auto wounding this guy. It has to be done honestly or not at all.
Yeah.
He interestingly always chases the last hero that wounds him as well. So he will focus. If you're the last hero to hurt him, he will focus. Now that's interesting because he's going to really charge at the one hero. But it also means the other 2 or 3 heroes can then outmaneuver him, get behind him, and look for vulnerable spots in his back. So you can kind of use that to your advantage by enraging him and trying to lead him away.
You can sort of Benny Hill it.
Yeah. Well, he's fast is the problem.
He's immune to boom attacks, so you can't send him a grenade and hope it will do anything.
His shield, not his shield, sorry, his shoulder laser will hit everything in front of him. He will cleave
up to 10 areas away. So there's no hiding.
So what we're saying is, if you like the game, if you like what you see, and you think you'll want a challenge, you'll think you want something to really test your team and your cooperation, this little add-on for Project X will give you that opportunity to really test your mettle.
Yeah.
He's a little more vulnerable from behind. If you shoot at him from a distance, you've got a +5.
Only his head.
Only his head.
Because the thing is, you just have to kill his head twice, but you just have to kill his head. That's it. You don't necessarily have to go after the other elements, but you'll make your life a little easier as he gets weaker as you take off the other parts. And obviously, he dishes out less damage.
Yeah.
If you can get behind him and actually hit the Vril canisters that are core to powering him, you'll get added bonuses to his vulnerable spots, so you can get a little boost.
Well, it's a very interesting module to actually add to the game, and something that I would definitely recommend people to try, just because it's so much fun. How many times do you like just the big nasty, the challenge to see?
Yeah,
if
this
you
is
can
a
just do
challenge
that?
mission. Yes,
Yeah.
you say, okay, let's try. We know how to play the game, because I don't think the first time you play the game, you should try this mission. It's really
You should not.
yeah. But once you know the game, you could just say, okay, let's pick the four guys we really
the
think
dream
could.
team.
Yes, and the challenge, let's try and destroy Project X. And it's not going to be easy.
Yeah, not exactly. So if you like the core box, you've got that option. If you like the more alien stuff, you've got Not of This Earth. If you like a big challenge, you've got the likes of Project X. So there's options and add-ons depending on your group and your play style.
Yeah, fabulous.
Shall we chat a bit about the pledge manager?
Of course.
Chat a bit about this lady here. So
What is this?
one thing about the pledge manager is we're adding a bunch of stuff in, but no content stuff. Everything that was available in the Kickstarter is all about gameplay, and it's all already there for everybody. But we wanted to add a bunch of nice things, and this one is one that a lot of our fan base were kind of crying out for. Yeah.
Oh, totally. People wanted when they discovered, because the way it happened, we were talking with Paolo Parente, who's often participated in our Kickstarter, with Paolo, and we were thinking, well, what could we do? Everything is already done, so we were thinking of doing something special. And initially, it was not a mini. Initially, what we wanted him to do was to create the pinup for the Reichbusters. Like the 1940s
for
for their plane. When they are sent to Germany, they come in a plane, and on that plane, on the nose of this plane, is a pinup that we asked Paolo to draw.
And this is right back from our original brief.
Yes.
We'd always talked about how the Reichbusters were essentially being dropped behind enemy lines. They were going where no other soldier could go to complete these super dangerous missions. So this plane was always in our heads.
Yeah, it was.
You're not making the plane, are you?
We talked a little bit about it. We talked about planes, and we talked about submarines, and we talked about little things, but we tried to restrain. Project X is pretty big.
And so and it was supposed to be a surprise, because this would be the cover of the
Cargo hold stretch
stretch goals. Yes.
Yeah.
So he designed this beautiful pinup, like really in the veins of what you would see back in
101st Airborne.
If anyone knows, from Mythic Battles, when we delivered that, we stretch goals often you see them just put in plain brown cardboard boxes and they sit in your shelves. We wherever possible, we far rather create a custom box with a designed piece of art for it, so all your stretch goals and everything are nicely presented on your shelf when it's there. So this was a great opportunity for that.
Oh yeah. We could talk about the way this box will be done, because the cargo hold is really going to be designed very, very well so that everything fits. But the thing is, when we showed this as a stretch goal, people saw the art, of course, and they wanted it as a mini. And we said, okay, well, this wasn't planned, and we thought of how we could do that, because we didn't want all our heroes were done. We didn't really want purely we didn't really want a purely pin-up mini, but at the same time we wanted to please the people who asked for it. So the idea we came with is to have a Sally box with a mini that we did, and to use to do that as an alternate version of Sarge. So it's exactly.
So I actually have the miniature here, and putting Sarge aside, the scale's perfect, but the pose it's different.
A bit more casual.
A little bit more casual, a little bit less in the middle of a firefight.
Well, I think
the details are great.
If we think about our first Let's Play where Warren played Sarge kind of those couple of months ago, I wonder what happened if we'd given Sally instead, if it would changed his role play, because he wouldn't have been saying, I got this, let's go. He would have been a bit more sassy, maybe.
I don't know, knowing Warren, he'd still be pretty gung-ho.
Yeah, I think so. So yes, as Leo was saying, this is not going to add new gameplay, it's just giving you beautiful new cards, beautiful new art, its own little custom box with this unique mini, just to really embrace the people that asked for this Paolo art to be turned into something for the game.
Yeah. See, for me, this is one of the great strengths you guys are going to have with Reichbusters, is if you're ever looking to do expansions in the future, it can just be, here is a new Reichbuster.
We have a lot of allied nations that we haven't included yet, and we have heard a lot of requests. We didn't ignore them. There's only so many that we really wanted to put in.
It's not finished. This is season 1, and we will do other things with Reichbusters. So we have plenty of other opportunities to to
expand
see
the world,
to expand the world.
Yeah, I mean, like this, I love the idea of it. I love having alternate sculpts for things, just because it's another chance to paint beautiful miniatures. And like you said, it could give you that chance to maybe role play it slightly differently because you're seeing what you would consider a
You could
different
play
character.
with two Sarge.
Yeah. Oh, I mean, if you that could get brutal. Oh, that would be interesting.
With Sarge and Sally, if you wanted. Or, again, an all-female hero team.
Yeah, again,
Yeah.
so it gives you an extra hero for that.
Yeah.
So that'll be if this is something that we didn't really have time to do it during the Kickstarter because it was a reactionary thing, but we wanted to add it in the pledge manager. So hopefully the people that backed and new people come along and pick it up.
Yeah, but that's something lovely
This is
that you guys do.
Yeah, this is really for the pledge manager. This is something for the fans.
Yeah.
Which will look cool. We will paint her. We will have her painted.
Of course.
And that's a great paint. Oh, that's a great sculpt, I mean.
Yep.
And yeah, I think Paolo did a really, really good job because it's not, this pinup is quite,
It's not over the top.
Not over the top. That's what yeah exactly. It's just the right balance.
Very nice.
So we're a bunch more other kind of add-ons as well. This one it's pretty
Dice.
simple. Extra dice.
Yep.
Whenever you get into the big missions, if you're going to be taking on like Project X, these make things a little bit easier. That's just an optional add-on if everyone wants them. They're very pretty. I can't wait to have the final dice.
Always good to have more dice.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Not to share them with your...
Yeah. No dice for you. They're mine. They're my dice. We're going to be doing as well a dice tray. That's something that we had. Because it's such a dice-focused game, you're exploding dice, you're manipulating, you're adding dice cards in. They're quite important. So for this, we did decide that a tray, rather than a tower or anything, that was actually most... Because a lot of times you're manipulating the dice and working with them on your attack. So that seemed like a no-brainer for us.
Is it going to be this solid wall variant?
We're still kind of looking at a couple of options now. So we'll kind of on the pledge manager itself, you'll find the final details. Because we tried a few different things out. We're actually rolling dice into trays. We looked at some different companies in the UK and China and Europe as well, to see what options suit best. So
this is nice because it doesn't take much space and it's very convenient. And
Well, it's one of those things. You can fold it down; it'll sit flat into the box.
That's it.
Yeah.
I mean, I like the idea of having the solid wall design because after you've rolled your first set, you can just stack them off to one side and roll, and there's less chance of them getting knocked.
Yeah, that's
and
it.
actually changing facing.
Yeah. Then we also have the Sally enamel pin. This is going to be something that's going to be... This is a real treasure, to be honest with you. We are really wanting to focus on little things that our community are into and listening to the requests from previous campaigns. Yeah. I'm not going to lie to you. I've backed many Kickstarters, and when I've had them delivered, I've picked up the pins. I've got so many root pins and so many little Kickstarter pins that I love. We have our Mythic Day pins from last year.
Yeah.
I'm a bit of an enamel pin guy. I'm not going to lie to you.
Dude, you've seen me whenever I go to a con. I have the lanyard and it's just filled with every pin.
And your neck is like this. It's to get in. So for us, we thought, you know what, we want to embrace this time. We're looking at something. When we think about the Reichbusters, we think about them, having something that shows they're all part of that team. So this little optional extra will show that you're a fan of it. We quite like this.
Yeah.
So this is Sally, right?
Yes, Sergeant Sally.
I don't know how the name came. I think
it was comments whenever we first shared the teaser, whenever the campaign was coming to an end, we showed a little clip of the render because at that point we were in the middle of working on we had about 3 days before the end of the campaign. We had the reaction to the cargo hold stretch goal box. The reaction to the art was fantastic. We started immediately working on the render, but we only had a little teaser for the end, and the comments went wild. We mentioned a little bit about what we were thinking about doing with her, and loads of name suggestions started coming in. And I can't remember, unfortunately, the name of the person that said it, but they were conversing with our UK team, and it seemed that Sally was just the one that stuck.
Yes.
She was an alternate to Sally, Sergeant Sally, and we just went, you know what? That's
Sally.
perfect.
Yeah.
That is perfect. So that's another little optional thing. This is big.
That's news.
Yes. So alongside, kind of aesthetic things that are going to just really help you, indulge yourself into the Reichbusters world, we also wanted to put in some utility stuff. So what we have here is we've struck up a deal with the Army Painter. Big fans, obviously, of everything they do. And we're going to be doing a box of custom chosen paints. Seb Lavigne is working with the Army Painter team to pick out the paints that will be best used for painting your entire Reichbusters range. So he's going to have a full box, and we've done a custom alternate sculpt of Red Hawk. So we have Red Hawk just in front of Project X there, where she's battle ready, she's got the sniper rifle up, and she's good to go. She's a character that we've had for a long time. She was one of our first pieces of art we ever did for the game, one of the first ones we ever showed in our teasers, and we thought she would be fantastic to have this alternate, more kind of custom pose.
Yeah. Honestly, this is one that I'm kind of looking at going, must have right now. Now, I assume the box here is just a mock-up.
It is at the moment. Yes, that's
Yes,
right.
it's a mock-up, and as you said, Seb has been doing a big job of choosing. You know, because we're working with Army Painter. They send us how you call that, all the colors.
Yeah, like a
palette.
swap. That's it.
Yeah, and he chose each paint color personally to make sure he could paint them the way he wanted.
And then this paint set is it, so that from this one box you can paint the entirety of your Reichbusters?
That's it. It's going to encompass everything. So you get a full range. Obviously, if you want to get right into super minute details, you might want to pick up a couple of extra. But we'll have the full set. Is it 12 paints? You keep
It's
right.
12 paint.
Plus
so
a brush.
It's not 10, plus a brush.
Plus a mini, plus a little mini guide as well.
Yes, plus a mini guide. So step by step, he will show how to paint Red Hawk.
Yeah.
And then we will have pictures of some other units with the colors that you should use. So, of course, it's more for beginners than for,
people who really know what they're
like
doing.
good painters, people who are used to painting. But it's something new, and I think it's nice to see if people like that, because we try to do some new things with our pledge manager, and this is a new opportunity, and I think an interesting new product.
I like the idea of this because it answers a question that I sometimes have for whenever I'm looking to drop into a game. It's do I enjoy painting the miniatures?
Yeah.
I've had it recently where I dropped into a game I hadn't played for years, and it was just like, okay, is there a set I can pick up where I can test paint some miniatures and see if I still find it fun?
Absolutely.
And that's a great thing to have.
Yeah, I mean, our hope is that we obviously make board games. You know, our games, that is what they are, traditional, but we want our miniatures to be of the highest possible quality. We want to give the options for people who do want to paint them, ways to get into it and indulge it. And now that we have Seb full time with us, we'd love to start releasing more content and tutorials with Joan of Arc, of course. We really wanted to have that content in there as well, just like we had with Mythic Battles. So you can see exactly how to paint them in the styles that we would recommend if you need guidance or into that kind of thing. So board games, but with the quality and consistency and style of miniature games, we want that prestige.
Yeah, that and working alongside the Army Painter guys, they're
It's
really
great.
talented with what they do.
Fantastic team.
Really well.
They're great. They're great.
We've also got, this is a nice simple one, just like the dice, we have card sleeves. We're going to have a card sleeve bundle, so it'll just be one option where you get all your portrait standard poker size, all your mini size, and also your kind of slightly larger tarot kind of size for your faction cards.
And the very exact number you need.
Yeah, so
I see.
and that's just something that we like at giving as an optional extra. It's quite popular actually. A lot of people, because it just means you don't have to go and buy lots of packs yourself. We just give you the number for the set.
You still make.
It's a good way of purchasing it, realistically.
Well, it's something I always find. Whenever I get a new board game, I do like sleeving all my cards because it makes the play experience a little nicer.
Yes.
Instead of working with raw cards, having it in the sleeve, you know, shuffling becomes easier, drawing becomes easier.
True.
Yeah, we're big fans of it too, and anytime we can realistically offer it, we always do attempt to.
And we make sure that it fits in the box sleeve
as well.
Yeah.
This is currently just a prototype example. This is not final, but we are going to be having a play map for the game as well. So we're going to be having a nice, similar to Solomon Kane, where we had a nice big 90 centimeter by 120
Which
centimeter
is big.
neoprene stitched edge, gorgeous quality play mat. So if you really want to have that nice experience, if you want to have somewhere for your tiles to sit nice and well, we're going to have that option on the Pledge Manager as well. Another optional aesthetic extra that kind of adds that bit of flair if you like it.
Again, it's what I love about the neoprene stuff these days is you lay it down on your gaming table, and even if you're playing a board game, I mean, like there's one we got as like a wood panel effect that we use for a lot of our board game let's plays. Having that instead of just a blank table, it makes it feel nicer.
It's crazy the difference. It really it sets a real mood when because you spend all the time looking down. It does set the tone. So yes, we're going to be having something a bit dark, focusing on the bunkers, focusing on the depths of the castle. And as I say, this is still just a prototype. We'll share the final one on the Pledge Manager.
Yeah, sure. Very cool.
This is something just for you guys, and just for Beasts of War.
I've been biting my knuckle trying to not say this one and spill the beans.
So, we obviously, I mean, I mentioned the minis, and we're big in our art, and we're big in the kind of style of the stuff we do. We want to start giving back as much as we can to the community. So we were having a little talk and said, what's something that the Beast of War community, the OnTableTop guys, would really, really value? We talked about posters and about copies of the game. We talked about different things, but we thought, no, this is a one of a kind. There is no other in the world. Pretty much the first mini I think that was really properly painted Sarge by Seb Lavigne that we're going to leave this very one to be given away to one of the Beast of War community as you guys see fit.
Okay, I'm going to say this now. I'm going to let Sam pack this one. Because if this goes into the post and doesn't arrive in mint condition, I am going to be a very sad panda.
This really is a one-of-a-kind kind of unique piece that we thought hopefully somebody out there will comment on the video, or you guys can decide obviously how you want to give it away, but they'll really
Comments
value
on
it.
the video is absolutely fine. I would say comments on beastofwar.com or on tabletop.com for the winner of this one. So if you're on Facebook, if you're on YouTube, come across to the main website, create yourself a free account and get a comment in here.
And one person that's going to get to take this away, we're going to I'm going to be sad to see him go, I'm not going to lie. You actually, because we take these minis to conventions, in fact this Sarge is very well travelled. He's been to Gen Con. He's been to Essen. Was he at Cannes last year? No, he was a little oh no, he might have been at Cannes last year actually. He's been continental. He's been at UK Games
I need to get
Expo.
Seb just to paint up a little passport for him.
He's really well travelled and he's been kept really nice. So for us, whenever we're putting them out and displaying them, we do get a bit of a connection to them. And for me, it's and I think about as nice a thing as we could kind of offer people who are fans of what you guys do, and we love coming here.
Again, there's nothing better than getting an exclusive thing that no one else in the world will ever have like that. You know, it's something that you'll pop into your display case and you'll go, "Yup, I got that."
Well, I hope whoever takes it will put it somewhere pride and place so we can get some pictures of them with it.
Yeah, definitely.
There you go. Forget traveling around the world. Leo has touched that many. But the big thing. Oh no!
Whoa!
I didn't do anything. No, I didn't do anything.
No! Press that button.
Oh no! I'm gonna skip twice. Pledge manager's open. There's nothing to say.
What is this?
Oh, I forgot that was in there. Oh, I genuinely forgot that was right there. So Leo has said that we have been thinking. We had a huge amount of support for Reichbusters. Before we even opened the Kickstarter, we had people excited about this game. The initial art, the initial sculpts, the initial conversations, the live streams we did on Board Game Geek, come to see you guys. The reaction was amazing. We knew straight away that there was a world that people were going to get into. So as soon as the Kickstarter sort of finished, we were straight on to Catalan and to Guillem, our artist, and said, look, we need to start thinking about where this is going to go. This is one of our first real concept teaser images for where the next campaign after the current Reichbusters storyline could go to. I don't
because
know
the campaign tells you a story.
Of course.
So when you play the full campaign from the first season, it will lead you somewhere. And where will you go after that?
Possibly to this frozen Nazi base built into a glacier with Nazi flying saucers. Thanks, Leo.
I don't think we need to say any more.
No, thanks for that, Az.
I totally forgot that was right there at the end.
So it will be very different, obviously.
We would love to keep growing the Reichbusters universe, and I think the great thing is if you just jump in, grab the core box, you've got a full campaign story. If you play with O'Reilly, he comes with his own mission. Project X come with his own missions. Not of this Earth come with an extra set of off this planet missions where you leave Earth and you're going through the Vril portal to deal with two alien races who are working against the Nazis and against the Vril Meisters. And that all forms one nice coherent campaign, no matter what way you decide to play it. And we really have 101 ideas for where we want to take it. So this was just the very first image that we've done.
Very cool. Very, very cool. I'll give everyone one last quick look at that.
Yeah, it's fun. It's not. I'll say right now. It's not Hoth. It's not Hoth. So yeah, if you're into it, please come and support us. Even if you're not, come and share your thoughts on the video. It means the world to us. So for us, the Pledge Manager is an opportunity for us to do more Let's Play, share more of the game, come and chat to you with guys. It's kind of like a second little mini campaign, and it'll be open for a couple of months for any existing backers or new backers to come along and get involved.
Very cool. Well, guys, thank you very much for coming in. I always love sitting down to chat to you about the games you guys make. Everybody, get those comments in below on Beast of War, on YouTube, on Facebook. If you want your chance to win a copy of Sarge, come across to beastofwar.com/on.
There's only one Sarge. There's only one. Only one of you.
Come across to the main website, create a free account, get your comments in below. We'll move on. We'll see you again soon. Warren, this is one of those games that if somebody missed out on it, this is their chance really to jump back in. I swear, if you didn't jump in on the Kickstarter, go and check out that Pledge Manager because the game's just so much fun.
I'm totally going to steal the mechanics of that.
No, not steal. Be inspired by.
Leo, you inspire me. You absolutely inspire me. I'm going to be talking in XLBS tomorrow. XLBS tomorrow, we have a lovely topic. It's going to be about any engagement that you would love to play as a game. What is it, and how might you do it? So we've got a few to talk about, and I'm going to be talking about borrowing Leo's amazing Reichbuster rules. I have such a plan for them. They have utterly inspired me. One of the finest set of gaming rules I have ever played. They are so much fun, and that is the ultimate measure of a set of gaming rules. Are they fun? And man, Reichbusters is just so much fun. So I join us tomorrow, because I'm going to be talking in detail about a project that I've finally got working on, because it unlocked my... it was a project I was kind of struggling with, wondering how to go ahead with, but this was the final key that I needed to unlock it. Is that mysterious enough for you to come across and spend $3.79 to support us and keep us on air? Hope so. Right, Kickstarters. Sentinel Comics, the role-playing game. This is from our buddies over at Greater Than Games, Ben.
Yeah, so we've done an unboxing of the starter set for this. I think it was last year, and also at the UK Games Expo, me and Justin sat down to play through a early version of this with the guys from Greater Than Games.
That was awesome.
On the live stream, which is
Make
very, very
sure
cool.
that's embedded, because that looked so much fun.
Honestly,
it was very good fun.
It's a role-playing game that lets me play a little bit Deadpool, even though I'm meant to be playing Batman, so I'm kind of happy with it.
Yeah.
So this Kickstarter is now focusing on bringing the core rulebook to life. So instead of you just having to make do with the starter set that exists out there already, you'll be able to get the core rulebook, build your own heroes, or play some of the heroes from the Sentinels of the Multiverse universe as well on the tabletop in your role-playing sessions. The thing about this that I absolutely loved from our session is that it was all about narrative, storytelling, and action, and it felt like a movie on the tabletop, which I thought was really, really cool. Everything's broken down into scenes, and the way that initiative works is very, very fluid. So when someone's got a really cool idea, they can jump in and you can sort of cooperatively tell the story together, which I thought was really cool. The other awesome thing about it is some of the mechanics in there. So it's called the gyro system. And this is the way that you can use some of your actions, because certain powers and abilities are tied to the kind of state of your character and the state of the story overall. So even when you're down in your luck and you're losing out and you're sort of low on health and you're bleeding, you're a little bit like Batman or someone, and you've got like a broken rib cage and your hands have been shattered, you can still use some awesome abilities and gadgets and stuff to try and make those epic climaxes work on the tabletop. And also things can go badly and you can fail to destroy any spider bots and everyone can get really mad at you, which is also the other way around that it can go. But this looks like an amazing system. It's really, really fun. They've done some really cool things with the Kickstarter where you can get a hold of things like sort of special dice and also a GM's kit as well, which will come with a whole bunch of different things for you to use in setting up your games. And also, of course, it's set in the Sentinels of the Multiverse universe, so it has some amazing artwork in it as well. So
well,
yeah,
I am utterly sold, because it's a lifetime since I've had an epic climax on the table. I'm all in.
What sort of movie, Ben? Like, you describe movies, and I was looking at it, and the movie that sprung to mind is like the
Purple Rain?
Incredibles or something.
Oh, right,
Is
yeah,
it-
Yeah, you could rock it out like that.
would I feel like I'm in the Incredibles movie?
You could
I
do
was
if you
playing
really
this
wanted.
then?
Could I
be
make
one
it
of
work
those-
for Mystery Men?
Yes.
Oh,
You
that,
could
that would be the
totally-
way to go.
That would be the way to go. That
The
would be
only
absolutely
way
the way to go.
I can properly describe this game system and do it justice is the best GMs can ad-lib, and this is a rule system that is designed to allow that and reward that in great amounts.
Yeah.
So if you're right, how many times have you sat down, Ben, and your role-playing party, you have a carefully crafted narrative character sitting at the bar waiting to talk to your folks, and they're off talking to the goblin in the corner? This is a system where you can very quickly retool your narrative, your storyline, so that the goblin actually knows what he's on about and can lead people where they need to go.
One of the key things about it as well, I think is really good, is because of the way the scenes play out and that things are happening even when you're not there. And the GM notifies you of this because he does like things like the camera pans away and over in this scientific laboratory, this is happening. You've got this like counting clock going on in the background. So even as you're sort of like battling a massive mech monster or something, other bad things are happening elsewhere, and you need to decide how you're going to approach it. I thought it was really cool.
So we could do Mystery Men meets 24.
Yeah.
Yes,
Pretty much.
This could be awesome. I wonder what a 24-hour live stream of that might be like. If it was played, if it
Many
was
peaks and
played
troughs.
in real time with no pee breaks.
Guess I'm gonna have to get a stadium, buddy.
Okay, guys, there's 20 days left of the Sentinel Comics, the role-playing game. So if you're into that, definitely go and check it out. Also, come across to OnTableTop.com, because we will have Ben and Baldy's Baldy of the Universe playthrough of it in there. What's your name again? Oh yes, Justin.
No. if it's a hero name, it's the Masked Bald One.
It's the masked bald one. It's okay. Next up, we have a very exciting Kickstarter. I've actually been really looking forward to this because I have a soft spot for Munchkin in most of its billion incarnations that it's in now.
Yep.
But I do have a soft spot for Munchkin, and I always wanted to have a tabletop mini kind of version of Munchkin. Now, there was Munchkin Quest.
There was also Munchkin Deluxe, I believe, had a board to it.
Which was close, but it never quite did it for me. I wonder if Simon have done it this time around with Munchkin Dungeon.
Yeah, so this is a collaborative effort between Simon and Steve Jackson Games. Eric Lang is one of the people behind the game design of this, so that should be a good sort of seal of approval for it. It obviously also means that Justin will never win the game, as that tends to be. But also, this is for 2 to 5 players. You'll take on the role of Munchkins, as you might imagine, and you'll do dungeon delving. And it'll take on a lot of the properties that you know from the card game, so you'll be kicking down doors, encountering monsters, judging cards being thrown at you by your opponents, not quite literally, but still sort of things to trip you up and things like that. You'll be defeating monsters, trying to gain as much loot as you can, and gain fame, because the first person to get to 20 fame is the winner. The other way that the game can end is that if you defeat the boss monster at the very bottom of the dungeon 3 times, you'll be able to end the game that way, and the person with the most fame will be the winner as well. Now, one of the things that I had as an interesting sort of question about this is how on earth they were going to deal with that sort of backstabbing mechanic.
Yes.
And as the game is played, you accrue what's called I think it's I've got it listed somewhere in here, but I can't remember what it's called now. Never mind. It's called threat. That's it. It's called threat. I found it. Threat tokens are added to.
The threat's just got him.
Everyone else at the table to screw you over.
Yeah, so Ben has turned into a kung fu movie. Okay, Ben, we're still here, man. We're with you.
We might need to backtrack just a little bit.
So backtrack just a bit, Ben, and pretend that none of us know what the hell you're talking about.
Okay, so a pool of threat is generated by things appearing on the tabletop and the dungeons rooms that you move through. This threat is then used to pay for the cards of everyone around the table to screw you over.
Right.
So it's not like every card can be thrown at you at once and that's it. You have to manage the pool of threat and how you affect that player, because you might need it for someone else later down the line. So there's a really cool sort of element of sort of resource management in there for the way that you can screw people over, which I think is much better than how the card game handles it, where it's kind of like everyone throw cards at the person and now the other person wins and gets it. It's very cool.
We're seeing some amazing models here. The stone golem and the grassy knoll.
The miniatures for this are looking great. They're a really nice representation of the miniatures that you get in the characters that you got in the card game, which I thought was really cool. As I say, there's a real sort of sense of nice depth to this. I love that there's no player elimination, because you just get sent back to the start and you can go back straight through again, which I think is really cool.
Yeah.
And I think if you like Munchkin, then this is probably going to be a really cool way for you to take it down to the tabletop and screw each other over. If you're not a fan of Munchkin, maybe give it a go. Maybe don't buy it, but potentially see if some friends have got it or if a local game store has it later on down the line, and give it a go with them and see what you think, because it might be a really cool sort of like sort of blow off steam style game that you want to sit down and play at the tabletop. So yeah.
But if you've never played Munchkin, you could probably just play the card game and have a feel of where this is going.
Yeah.
Because all Munchkin games pretty much have the same feel to them, don't they?
Yeah, very much. So yeah, again, a lot of those kind of similar mechanics are being sort of taken from the card game into the board game. So as Lloyd says there, if you want to play the card game, you'll probably get a good feel for how this will be and whether or not it'll be a good fit for your group. So yeah.
There's a Minotaur in there
totally
that's pushing Zealot hard for being one of the best Minotaurs I've ever seen.
Yes. Oh, did you like
Oh,
the
yeah,
one in
yeah,
there? Did
yeah,
you?
it's good. I think it's a
okay.
stick of
So
dynamite.
Munchkin Dungeon has 16 days left, so go and check it out. Okay, guys, that wraps that up. Right. If you entered last week's competition for the Urban Conquest box, head on over to beastsofwar.com on tabletop.com and click on the prize claim. So if you haven't got a free account yet, create a free account, go into the prize claim, and all of the previous winners are listed in there. So go and check that out and see if you were the winner of the Urban Conquest box. Right, guys, thank you very much. Lovely spending Saturday with you. Tomorrow morning, we are back over on tabletop.com, where we have the XLBS. That's the extra long backstage version of the show. And tomorrow's topic is, you can pick any engagement, fact or fiction. What would it be, and how might you recreate it? How might you play it? So come on over and join us for that. I'm thinking we might even do a prize. It's been a while since we've done some prizes for Backstagers. Backstagers, it's time you got another prize. So join us for that. Ben, thank you. Justin, thank you. Jerry, thank you. Lloyd, thank you. And most importantly of all, thanks to each and every one of you who, without fail, come and join us every weekend. We really appreciate it, especially at this stage where YouTube is utterly screwing us over every single day. You don't know how much we appreciate you taking the time to spend some time with us. Right, guys? Have a great week of gaming. Go ahead and check out our other content on screen now, and be sure to check out beastsofwar.com for the latest gaming news and gaming Let's Plays. And while you're at it, why not hit subscribe and remember to ding our dong. Go on, you know you want to click it. Go on.